again to the Weiwu Executive Academy video podcast. I'm Hanum Sasabila. Today we'll present a short talk about operation management. And in here is Professor Johnny Rungtusanatham, PhD. He is the Associate Professor of Operation Management at Curtis L. Colson School of Management, University of Minnesota. Thanks for being here, Professor.
Thank you very much.
Well, my first question, General One, can you give us a short outline of operation management?
Think about why a business exists. A business exists because there is a product or service that is demanded by customers in the marketplace. Operations management is concerned with managing all the decisions that lead to the creation and delivery of that product and service. So in operations management, we ask questions such as, what is the type of process we want to use? How good is that process when we create or deliver a product or service? How much can we make? How much can we deliver? How many customers can we provide service to? What kind of items do we keep in inventory? How good is the products or service that are being created and delivered? And finally, how should operations compete and support the business strategy of the firm?
Mm-hmm. And based on your experience, is there any significant difference in the approach of topic for the executives and professionals?
If you look at executives as CEOs and top management within a firm, what executives and top management of a firm need to appreciate is the value and the relevance of the operations function within the business. Most executives understand why the business exists, how to compete, but they do not have a sharp appreciation of what is it the operations function does and how does it contribute to helping the firm succeed in terms of competing with competitors in the marketplace. So one of the key distinctions between executives and professionals is that we have to convince executives as to the value of having a course in operations management.
Mm-hmm. Talking about challenges, based on your observation, what is the key challenge that the executive face in learning operation management?
Okay. Operations management is both strategic and tactical. And sometimes we teach the course in too tactical a manner. So we get into too much details about problems and the formulation of problems as well as the technical solutions to a problem. Executives need to understand that these problems exist. Executives understand that there is a methodology or a set of methods that help us understand these problems. They don't necessarily have to really understand how to solve the problems per se, what formulas to use, but they need to understand what is the number and what does that mean in terms of the decision that has to be made.
Mm-hmm. So. Talking about teaching method, I've just noticed earlier in the classroom that you did a lot of games, and I saw also many interesting items in your box. What do you do with that, and is that one of your way to present your classroom full of enjoyment or else?
For many executives, who have never had any exposure to the operations function, it's hard for them to visualize what happens inside the operations environment. And the best way I can actually help them understand and appreciate it is actually make them play games that simulate the operations environment. So my toolbox has materials for many games, 3 of which we play here. One is called the Thera-Aid medical device game. It is a simulation where the students have to try and design a job shop versus a line flow system. The other game is the hand puppet game, where we look at an unbalanced line assembly process, and the students have to try and understand how to improve it. And the third game is a game called the beer game, which is actually invented and made famous by a professor at MIT. The beer game is a simulation of supply chain dynamics to help students understand why some firms hoard inventory, whereas other firms don't have enough inventory within the supply network.
Mm-hmm. Including the hand puppet show, the hand puppet games that you've just carried out. What is the goal of this unit group activity?
The hand puppet game is a simulation of a line flow system where the line flow is unbalanced, which means that work is not being done in terms of equal times from one station to another. And because the work is not evenly performed, we have situations where one station may become a bottleneck, slows down the process, and part of the simulation is to help students understand what is a bottleneck. What does it mean when we say that a task is a bottleneck or a resource is a bottleneck? How does the bottleneck affect the ability of the system to react, to respond, to be quick? And what is the relationship between the bottleneck time and the cycle time, as well as how does it affect other time dimensions like throughput time and quality?
Thanks for your explanation, Professor. But before we end this discussion, let's have a look at some comments from the students. Let's take a look.
So the game is showing actually the really process and in a simple way showing everything what's happened in reality. And even if it's simple, it's very representative for understanding how this process does function in reality. And especially it's nicer to recognize in this way than reading a book.
Yeah, it was very helpful, especially compared to the previous courses. It was completely different, and it was also very helpful to remember all the stuff we learned during the course.
Well, thank you very much for your explanation, for your opinions, and this is really fun conversation. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you for having me.
And that's the end of our discussion. See you on the next video podcast. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.